Yo, what's up YouTube? This is JamMerit coming to you today with impact predictions. Let's go. Woo! So guys, before we get into today's episode, a few important things to note. With the update, overall is now more important compared to stats. For example, in League versus League and attack mode, the higher overall team you have, the better chance you get at getting better shots on goal and getting less countered. So this is important to consider. Also, another really crazy thing, guys, is that impacts are no longer extinct on the market. I'll just show you an example of this. So let's just have a look at Skirtle, for example. I'll actually just bring up Tyson as I've got him here already. So as you can see, guys, he is not extinct. I'll show you Skirtle as well, just to prove this. Also, it's the same with the gold players, which is a nice change. One thing to sort of consider though is that if they do perform really well, they probably will be a bit more extinct. As you can see, Skirtle there, his impact version. But yeah, so if they get like +8 to +10, you'll probably have to revert back to sniping them, but this is a nice change. So if you want, you can take the risk before their match has been played. Anyway guys, I've gone through and picked them all up just because they weren't extinct, so I can show you their stats, and I've also removed all boosts to show their stats at a base form. So let's get right into it. So guys, the first new impact of the week is 78 overall central midfielder Manu here of Villarreal. In his past few games, he's got him +2, +4, and +3. Being a centre mid doesn't really have too much value. He's probably the least exciting of the impacts this week. This week's impacts are actually pretty solid. As you can see here, his stats are not the greatest, but he could do well. But I mean, to be honest, I'm probably not going to take the risk on him, just because I mean, you have this guy here who was a free player that everybody got, Sabalas here. So I probably wouldn't recommend investing in him before the game, but who knows, he may do well. And guys, the second new impact of the week is 78 overall striker JamMerit. Now, JamMerit is a player of Hoffenheim. He played in the last few minutes against Ukraine in the World Cup qualifiers. However, in his last 3 league games for Hoffenheim, he's got +3, +7, and +6. Looking at his stats, they aren't that impressive. As you can see, he also does the step over heel, which does not help us at all. Another thing now, guys, to consider is with the Blue Star Hazard, strikers, left forwards, and central attacking midfielders have taken a little hit on the market. So be sure to consider those positions if you intend on picking these guys up. And here we have our third new impact of the week, boys. Feely of West Ham. He didn't play the last West Ham league game. However, in the prior games, he got +8 and +2. He looks really nice, I'm not going to lie, in terms of pace especially. Look at that sprint speed and acceleration. If he plays well, guys, he will be an absolute beast. He also has 86 dribbling, so I'm pretty sure after he gets upgraded, if he does, he will be able to do roulette. Let's hope for a big game from him. He looks pretty beastly, man, and he could be a nice addition to your squad. And now moving into the 2 elites for this week, boys. 80 overall central attacking midfielder Tyson of Shakhtar. Now, it's quite difficult to find the Russian Premier League stats. However, going off of his last 3 games in the Europa, spanning from December last year to February, he has got him +5, +1, and +5. He's a really interesting prospect. Look at his sprint speed, boys, and also his dribbling. He's got some pretty nice overall stats. I remember I used to use his 78 overall, or 79, central attacking midfield gold player version back when I first started the game, and he was really nice. If he does well, guys, he could be worth a decent amount of coins, but also just remember, consider that new Blue Star Hazard. And guys, the final man of this week for the impact players is 82 overall Martin Skirtle, centre back of Fenerbahce. Ex-Liverpool man, Skirtle is now playing for Fenerbahce, and he looks as though he's pretty solid. He is solid. He's got him +4, +5, and +6 in his last 3 games, which is extremely insane for a centre-back. As you guys know, if you've watched sort of Liverpool a few years ago, he used to have like a knack of scoring goals, and in his past 3 games, guys, he actually scored a goal. Looking at his stats once again, you can see here, his pace isn't the greatest, but he is a physical player, guys. You should all know that. But yeah, in my opinion, the most exciting prospects of the week are probably Tyson and Figurley. Also Skirtle as well. He could do well. I picked him up, I think, for 15,000 coins just to sort of take a risk on him. But this is going to be the end of this week's episode, boys. Thank you all for everything, and peace.